Going on, everybody? Thank you guys for tuning in. I know we're getting started at 2 o'clock, but I just wanted to make sure the connectivity was going to be good. All right. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Got 3 more minutes. All right. 3 more minutes and we'll get started. So you can see that we've got some flowers that we're going to be planting as our pollinators. Okay. And we'll expand on that in just a bit. So again, just making sure connectivity is up and running nicely. If you guys see any issues, let me know. But from what I can see, things will be running smoothly. All right. So just a little bit more, and we'll go ahead and get started. All right. You guys can see I'm out here sweating. Today is about 2 degrees, so hot day. So on days like this, you want to make sure you're watering uh, pretty much before the sun comes up and just before the sun goes down. That way you're not frying up your roots. Okay. Now, specifically for me and what I'll be doing with some of the flowers, some of them I will be watering on camera today because we're in the shade. All right. So if you're in the shade, a nice cool area, you can do a little bit of watering. But for those crops or flowers that are just in the middle of the sun, it is not a good time to water. Okay. All right. Appreciate you guys that are just coming in. We're just making sure connectivity is up and running. We got 1 more minute and we'll go ahead and do what we're gonna do. So in 1 minute, I'll let you know what the game plan is gonna be. All right. Appreciate you guys for coming in. Appreciate you. All right. So soon as 2 o'clock hits, we'll go ahead and get started. Very, very hot day. Let me know what the weather's like where you guys are out there. Let me know what your grow zones are. Let me know if you'll be getting in the garden today, even though today is a holiday. All right. So it's Father's Day. You guys know we got four kids ranging from 1 years old to 12 years old. So a lot is gonna be going on. All right, so 2 o'clock, guys. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna do a tour of the garden, and then what we're gonna do is we're going to plant some pollinators. We're going to plant a fruit tree. We're gonna be planting some of these onions as well. Don't let me forget about the onions. So these onions here, you can see are some bulbs. So you can plant them in the spring or you could plant them in the fall. So by fall for us, we'll be having a nice harvest of onion. So usually with onion, it takes about maybe 200 days or so before they're good to go. But we are going to be giving them some fertilizer regularly. That way we can kind of speed up that process. Okay. So for those of you that are just coming in, you can see some of the flowers we are going to be planting because we have zucchini, we've got cucumber, and they need pollinators. We also have watermelon, they need pollinators, but the watermelon in one area is doing good, the other area not so good. So if you have trouble, getting some pumpkin to develop, anything that flowers, right? Pumpkin, zucchini, cucumber, watermelon, any kind of melon, you're gonna need pollinators, okay? Pollinators are going to help you get the fruit. And so with these flowers, it's gonna help bring in more and more pollinators, all right? So let's go ahead and look at what's going on in the garden, all right? So you can see things are starting to thrive. You can see the flowers. You can see the corn is popping up really nicely, okay? You can see we've got some self-planting switch are here that we did not plant. They just popped up in good spots, and we're just gonna let them rock and roll. Okay, so this is gonna be one of our bigger cauliflower here. And so basically what I like to do is just break the leaves like that. That way the cauliflower doesn't get damaged, okay? Because if you leave it with the direct sun hitting it, it can damage your cauliflower, especially if you're in a zone like I am where today is 90 plus degrees. Look at those collards. All right, collards are looking really good. You can see the corn is knee high by the 4th of July. So that's a saying that farmers say when you're planting your corn, you want them knee high by the 4th of July. So we made it. We always make it pretty much. All right. You can see we got some broccoli. We're gonna be harvesting. A little late on harvesting these, but they're still gonna be good. So we're gonna go ahead and take them now, because if not, the next time I look, you'll see some flowering start. Okay, so I'm gonna take my pruners here and I'm just gonna cut right there, and you can see we got a decent head of broccoli here. We'll probably put them in some pasta. I like broccoli and pasta. Let me know what you guys do with your broccoli. Do you just cook them, boil them? Do you saute them? Let me know in the comments how you eat your broccoli. All right, so I'm gonna get another head here before they go to seed. Now what's gonna happen is, like this one, you'll see little bitty leaves start to pop out, and that lets me know more heads of broccoli, I'm sorry, are gonna pop out. Okay, so that's what it means when you get your first head of broccoli. Don't throw the plant out. You can also eat the leaves. You can eat them, you can saute them, boil them, just like you do any other greens. So you can see our cabbages are doing pretty nice. You can see we got some tomato over here looking good, and I saw some cucumber popping out over here. So I don't know if you guys can see that there, but we got a cucumber popping out. I've seen a few of them especially on this one down here, but a lot is going on around the garden. You can see tomatoes doing really nice. Swiss chard, remember we picked some of those last week. They're already coming back. More cabbage. These are cherry tomato here. You can see at the bottom that they're starting to turn color. So we'll see some red ones. You can see kale growing here. All right, let's see. There's another cucumber right there. I saw a bigger one in here. You can see down in there. That one's almost ready to eat. Okay, so things are really starting to move as this weather starts to kick up. Look at that cabbage. This is gonna be a nice head of cabbage here. More Swiss chard. You can see a closer look at the corn. All right. Now this cucumber here was from a seed from last year. I saw it pop up and I said, hey, it's not necessarily in the order I want things, but hey, we'll let it do what it do. All right, so sometimes the garden will just bless you and start to self-plant things wherever they want to go. All right, more cucumber, more cabbage. You can see the strawberry here beat up, so we're really waiting on next year for those. We got honeydew melon growing in here. You can see they're starting to flower. You see the bananas are doing really well. Rhubarb. So for those of you that don't know, a lot of people like to eat the bars and make jams out of them. So if you don't know much about rhubarb, you can do a little research. All right, you can see we got the dill here. We're gonna use those to make pickles. Those self-planted themselves from, I don't know, a couple years back. They were way in the back somewhere. Somehow the seed ended up here. This is the fruit tree that we'll be planting today. Got this for Father's Day. One of the best Father's Day gifts I've gotten. So I'm gonna have fun with that today. You guys will plant that with me today. All right, you can see the zucchini. All right, and this is one of the reasons why we need those pollinators, right? Pollinator did well on that one. but some of them in here you can see just not doing so well. So we had to break down and get more flowers to attract more pollinators in this area. You can see those bananas are starting to look really, really good. Okay. So overall, it's a lot of magic going on in the garden here. Look at all these flowers starting to pop up and bloom. The last time it wasn't like that, but things are really starting to move. Now, one thing you'll notice this time of year when it starts getting really hot is the herbs will start to die back. So you can see we've got lemon balm starting to turn color there. It's not liking the heat. Sage is going to seed here. We got oregano back here. And it's like with oregano, no matter what you do, it just keeps coming. It doesn't care. We've got some more herbs here, lavender, different flowers. So we're probably gonna put like a little dome or something going up around here. We've got this vine here that's gonna be a ground cover for this entire section, and then it's gonna grow and spread out a little bit. Tree collards doing okay. Looks like something's been eating them really good. So overall, things are going pretty nice in the garden. We'll check out the section where we planted some sunflower. Now, as we head there, you can see the watermelon is starting to grow up along this trellis. Okay, I've seen a few little watermelon pop up, but we'll see if they develop all the way. I don't know if you guys remember, but this was a bigger banana plant. We had it broke off by itself. That one did too. So you can see the little baby ones are starting to pop up, and then we'll have another huge one before this season is over. Okay, get that self-planted tomato. It made a good spot. Just left it there. So now this area here, as you can see, we dug up a lot of grass that was over here. So evenly from here to there, it's about 6 inches deep. And so you can see we've got little sunflower starting to pop up in different sections. So we're gonna give that some fertilizer and then they'll start to take off. Lettuce is going to seed in the back here. In the front, you see down at the bottom, lettuce is going to seed, and then we've got carrots growing back there as well. Now, over here, you can see watermelon starting to grow. So you can see a watermelon is there. Here's another one here. And it could be too early for these to develop all the way. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of days. I saw another one over here. Here it is at the bottom there. So this one might do okay. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks. Sometimes they'll start like that, die off, and then the next set will do pretty good. We got okra starting to look good. You can see in that section in the middle there that the okra is going to start to form. Now the ants really love to pollinate the okra. We've got a banana pepper here. I'm gonna go ahead and take that. That's pretty nice. Probably use that with a salad or something. Now, there's one more section I want to show you guys before we go ahead and start to work in this garden. Okay, and it is over here. So this section is where we're gonna plant all of those onion, okay, that we have in that pack. We're gonna plant the onion. We're gonna take this loose soil here and drag it over there to make sure those roots grow really deep so we can have some nice sized onion, right? Because we got a family of 6. Now, as we look here, I don't know if you guys remember this, all of this corn is growing off one cob. So we took some of the plants off and separated them, but for the rest of it, I'm just doing the experiment to see what happens if you let them all grow together, and they're growing better than the ones we have in that main part of the garden. So I found that pretty interesting. All right, now let's go ahead and get started we are going to plant some flower. We're going to plant that fruit tree. Now the fruit tree, okay, the fruit tree, we're planting it at a weird time. You really want to plant it in the winter, but I'm gonna go ahead and just get it in the ground today. And usually over the winter, you know, you give it some fertilizer, you give it more fertilizer in the spring as they're flowering. But today we're just gonna get it in the ground because not the pot that it's in is going to keep falling over. So it's just best to go ahead and get it in the ground because I don't want it to get damaged. Okay, so that's why we're going to do that today. Now let's go ahead and get some of these pollinators together. All right, we'll take that banana pepper and throw it in there. Now I'm going to start with this flower here, okay, which is called a petunia. So the petunia, if I plant one flower in one of these buckets here, you can see we kept the same buckets from last year. All right, I tried to get some of the seeds, but some of the pests got to them before I could. So the petunia, you could put one flower in one of these and it's going to grow really nicely, and it's going to start to hang over the pot, look, you know, nice and pretty. But we're doing this to get our pollinators in here. So I'm gonna just put one in each bucket. You could put, you know, 4 or 5 in one of these buckets, but I want one flower to grow a nice size. So now I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna just hook it right here. All right, I'm gonna hook it here. It's gonna bring more pollinators in, and it's also gonna aesthetically make the garden look better. So I'm gonna take another pot here, grab another petunia flower, and I'm gonna put it in there. And same thing, I'm just only gonna do one, okay? And then the same thing, I'm gonna hook it on here. So again, aesthetically, the garden's gonna look better, but the main objective we have is bringing pollinators in, okay? Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like flowers too, but you know, if you want your food to be grown and you don't want to have to self-pollinate, which we'll talk about that in another video. Usually people will self-pollinate by taking a Q-tip. Okay, they usually take a Q-tip, go into the male flower, and then they take the Q-tip into the female flower, and then it'll help. It'll help to you know, get your produce growing. All right. So now I'm gonna hook that one there, and then maybe, you know, as the weeks go on, we'll do different flowers up here to aesthetically make it look better. Okay. Now next, I want to get this one in a slightly bigger pot. Okay. So I have this one about halfway filled up, and this flower is called a latana. Okay. So this is one of those heat-loving flowers. So you guys don't know what that is. I've had one before, and it usually does pretty good. You can see this thing is dried out because it's mostly peat moss. So it's gonna be good to get some nutrients in this thing. So I'm gonna take this bucket here, and I'm gonna just kind of put some native soil up in here to give it some nutrients. All right. And this one I'm gonna have to water, but I'm gonna leave it here for now because it's so dry. I don't want it to die. All right. Need a little bit more soil in here. So now I'm gonna take my my watering can here, get it nice and watered, because this peat moss only is just not gonna do anything for this flower. So there we go. Now the next one we're gonna do, this one is called a Trandoscania. Okay, I've seen them before, never knew what the names were, but we're gonna take this one. All right, mostly peat moss again. And this is how, if you guys want to know, this is how they get a lot of these flowers to grow really quickly. They put them in peat moss and they water them daily. Peat moss is very loose. It allows the roots to grow and stretch and grow really strong really quickly. But then it gets to a point where it has no nutrients. And so we have to give these flowers nutrients. So I got a pot here, and I'm just gonna open it up, and then we're gonna plant it in there. Take some of this grass out of here. All right, I'm gonna take this, put a little bit more soil in here, and then we have the flower in here. Now this one I have to water too, just because of the peat moss. Peat moss is not gonna do us any good in this 92-degree weather. So I'm gonna set this one aside as well, keeping them out of the sun for now, and then we're gonna plant this last one. All right, so this one is called begonia. All right, so this is called begonia, another peat moss field plant. Okay, so I'm gonna take it, put it in the one that's halfway filled up, take some more soil here, and just fill it up. Fill it up real good. Take these grass roots out, stuff it down in there. We're gonna take our watering can, and then we're gonna get it in there. All right. And so now we just have to find a place to put them, but we'll do that in just a bit. So next, what I want to do is we'll get the fruit tree in the ground. All right, we're going to go ahead and get that set up. We'll get the onions in the ground. We'll talk about some different things. Let me make sure you guys aren't asking me questions. All right, Jake and Albie, hi. I'm the only person watching this live. Well, thank you. Appreciate you for being in here. Again, if you guys are just coming in, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. So, hello to you too, everyone that says hi. We are going to plant a fruit tree. Now, as I stated earlier, usually you want to do this, you know, in the fall, but I want to get them in this is a peach tree in the ground now, because if I don't, then this thing is going to keep tumbling over, and it just makes no sense to put them in a bigger pot, because I know that I'm going to put them in the ground anyway. Okay, so let me go ahead and get this set up. All right. All right, hopefully you can see me. All right. So I'm gonna move this tool here out of the way. And this is the area here where I want to put this fruit tree, which is a peach tree. All right, this is one of my Father's Day gifts. And normally with these holes, you want to dig a hole that's double the size of what your pot is. All right, so I'm gonna start there. Just kind of make my measurement around. That way I know about how much to dig into. So we'll move that out of the way. And I'm gonna start digging. I'm gonna take this and put it on this side. That way it's out of the way. Same thing here, dig. Put it out of the way. Now, a lot of this stuff nowadays you can do automatically with some sort of machine. But like I always say, I like to really feel what I'm doing. I don't want to have to use a machine if I don't have to. Maybe one day I'll have to, but for now, I want to keep myself in as best shape I can. And gardening is one of those ways you can do that. Now, in this section here, there are some thick orange roots, okay? That lets me know that there's something growing over here. So we are gonna have to really dig deep over here. That way we can make this a good planting spot, okay? Now, when I'm digging, I'm not gonna dig, you know, so deep that the tree is like sitting deep down in there, because you have to remember with these trees, right? You want to make sure the bottom of the tree bark is above the ground, because if not, if it's all the way in there, then you're gonna risk rotting the bottom of the bark down, right? And we don't want to do that. So this is why I'm only digging so far down, but deep enough to get these roots up over here. All right, so keep that in mind when you're planting trees, and we'll show you how it looks once we're done here. Now, we used to have two peach trees, and the thing with trees is, whatever tree you have, unless it's a self-pollinating tree, which really, you know, that's a whole nother the topic in itself, you're gonna have to have two trees. So for me, I've got this peach tree. I'm gonna have to get another one if I want the fruit to come every year, because they're gonna pollinate each other. All right, typically you want to get two different types of peach trees in this case. That way the pollination will go to your liking, especially with apple trees. Apple trees is best to have two different types, because it's almost usually impossible to grow the same type of apple, well, I'm sorry, to harvest the same apple over and over. Apples are just different like that. It's hard to get the same DNA, okay? But you know what, now with science, they can do whatever they want to do. All right, so I'm gonna take this up. Gonna dig down a little bit more. Let this sit here. Scoop up a little bit more. All right, so I forgot to ask you guys, let me know how you guys are doing today. Are you guys celebrating Father's Day? For me, I'm doing exactly what I want to do today. I want to be in the garden. The kids have respected my wishes. We kind of celebrated as a family last night, so we've gone and got our celebrations in. Now, I'm gonna take my tree, and if you want, you can take like some potting soil and you know, put a little in there. But for me, I just like to go ahead and get the tree in there where it's gonna be. So you can notice how the top of this plant here, the soil is above where you see the circle is. And now I'm just gonna fill it up around. Again, for those of you coming in, I know this is not the time you're supposed to plant them, but if you live where I am, you'll know why I'm doing this. The winds here are just crazy. Leaving them in a pot is just not gonna work. So I'm gonna go ahead and scoop it in there. All right. Take a little bit more from this section here. And now, if this were spring or fall, you could go ahead and put a little bit of fertilizer over here and then fill the rest of the hole up. So don't do that now, and then we'll fertilize this thing in the fall. Okay. So I'm gonna chop this soil up over here. And then we're gonna fill it back up. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is make sure it's all in there, pressing it down. You can see how we got about 3 to 4 inches up above where the hole is. All right, now later out of the week, I'm gonna take some mulch it in really good, and then we'll be good to go, because we don't want the hot weather and the sun to damage the roots. So that's why we're gonna do that. Okay, now if you're just coming in, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Let's go ahead and figure out where we can put some of these pollinators. So we're gonna start with this first one here. All right, so we're gonna start with this one. We're gonna put it over here by the zucchini that's not doing so well. That way it's gonna bring more pollinators into the space, right? So again, we're gonna put this here. It should draw in more pollinators for the zucchini that's struggling. This one seems to be doing okay, but we only have a short window with the zucchini, okay? And because we have that short window and they have to be pollinated, we have to be aggressive with our pollination, unless we're going to manually pollinate. And so with me, I work full time, and you know, having little ones while I'm working it can be rough. So can't make any promises with self-pollination all of the time. All right, now we're gonna take this one here and we're gonna put it on the other side of this other zucchini here. So we're gonna take it, we're gonna put it there. All right, nice little spot there. It's gonna help bring pollination to that one there. Again, we're working with a short window, and so we gotta be proactive. I mean, it's gonna aesthetically make it look better over here, but we've got an objective, we got a plan in place, and we're implementing it. So we're gonna take this last one here that we have, okay? And it doesn't seem like the cucumber is struggling to get pollinators, but I'm gonna bring it over here with this honeydew melon, because I want melons, right? I don't want to take the risk of pollinators not coming, so I'm deciding to put them right here. So you can see we got flowers right here, And we've got our honeydew over here starting to flower. Now, this flower looks like it's a possibility it can vine or it'll stretch out. And that's another reason why I'm gonna put it here. That way, if I have to tie it up or it vines or something, it's got a nice little space to do that. I don't know much about that flower, but just looking at it, it has the potential to really stretch out. And when I read on the tag there, it said it can stretch out to about 6 feet or something like that. So that's why we're being proactive there. Now, let me check some of the comments. Earwigs and peel bugs. Hey, gardeners, happy Father's Day. Hey, Gail H, thank you for the happy Father's Day. John C, what's going on? Gail H, what to do about earwigs and peel bugs? You know what? We have, was that last year? We had peel bugs come and destroy our beets. And so, and this is what I'm going to be doing. So I don't know, onion and garlic seem to kind of do the trick for a lot of those bugs. It's just something about the smell. Another thing I like to do, and I haven't done this in a while, is like our green onion, I'll put it in the blender with some water, put it in a sprayer and just spray, different areas where I know they're going to be. And yeah, a lot of those bugs don't like. I'm gonna show you something else. So most pests overall, not all of them, don't like these flowers either, which marigolds. It's something about the smell or something they don't like. So yeah, I would get garlic, I would get some onion. If the actual plants don't do well, put them in a blender, mix them with a little bit of water, put them in a sprayer, spray them just to really get that smell out there. They just can't take that smell. So that's what I would do with that. Yeah, because if not, yeah, they'll totally take over everything. This morning I walked by the house again with the big peach tree in the front yard. For at least 5 years now, the peaches look great, fall and rot on the grass. This might be the year I asked about them. Yeah, and nothing like some homegrown peaches. Gail, they ate my cabbage leaves. Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah, I would go ahead and do that. Yeah, those cabbage leaves, and the thing about the cabbages too, like the more mature they get, usually the less pest pressure you're gonna have. But I did encounter one year where not a cabbage moth, but a butterfly hatched its eggs on one of the cabbages. I didn't know. I came back the next day. It was 2 caterpillars on there, and they ate half of a head of cabbage. Absolutely crazy. So onion and garlic are my go-to to kind of keep the pest pressure down. Like I said, marigolds are good. So yeah, just fill your garden with a bunch of onion. That'll help. Earwig mostly pollen and nectar. Yeah. Peel bugs mostly eat decaying leaves and roots. Yeah, those peel bugs are something serious. I was sad about those beets. So what I've decided to do with the beets is try to change up when I'm gonna grow them. So I'll probably do those in the fall, and then I'll probably put them in pots and try to protect them some sort of way. But it seems like everything else, well, yeah, carrots, they really didn't bother the carrots, but those beets, they ripped me a new one with those. All right, guys, so we are going to get these onion planted. I know I gotta, I should have did this back in February, March, but you guys know we had a new baby that came, and sometimes it takes some time to get up to speed. make sure the baby's good. I mean, she's, 1 year old now, so she's fitting in with everybody else. All right, we got a nice shade area now. Now this area here, let's go ahead. I'm gonna measure it with my feet. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we got about 10 feet long by 3 wide over here, and it's gonna be filled with onion. So I've got yellow onion I'm gonna plant now, and then we've got, let me wipe that lens off. We've got some white onion we'll plant probably sometime this week. The white onion, for me at least here, seem to grow a little bit quicker than the yellow onion. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the yellow ones in now so you guys can see. So first things first, I don't know if you guys can see over here. So over here is where we had banana growing the last couple of years. We changed the spot for those, and there is some looser soil over here that we want to bring over to where we're gonna be planting the onion, because we want the onion to be able to spread really nice, get a nice bulb of onion before we plant them. And so let's go ahead and get those onion over here. I mean the soil, I'm talking about the onion. So we're gonna bring all this soil over here. I'm gonna spread it out really nice. I'll also say too, onion, if you play your cards right, will look good in your landscaping as well, especially certain parts of the year. Okay. All right, let me know in the comments, have you guys done anything in your garden today? Is it too hot? Where are you guys at? So for me, Indianapolis is where I am. 92-degree day. The next couple of days will be in the 90s. So let me know where you are, and let me know what the weather's like, what you're doing to kind of prepare for this crazy heat. All right, so for those of you that may just be coming in, today we've planted some flowers so we can bring more pollinators in. We've also planted a fruit tree that I usually don't do until, going into the fall, or I'm sorry, going into the winter, just in the fall. But because of the circumstances, I had to get it in the ground now. We did a tour. Now we're preparing the area here to plant some yellow onion. Okay, so now we're just taking some of this loose soil over here, all right, to make it to where those roots are really gonna grow down and really get us some nice onion here. All right, so now I'm just gonna spread it out a little bit. All right, I'm gonna ask you guys, do any of you guys grow celery, right? So we've had celery, and those pill bugs actually came and ate those up. Now usually the celery we had will come back every year. Those pill bugs got to them, ate all of the roots up. So they can do a lot of damage. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. So get those onions in there. Maybe what John has recommended will help you guys as well. So, we're all in this together. I mean, it can be rough sometimes. It can be devastating, but you got to learn from it. You got to know your environment. You got to make adjustments, okay? Now, I can remember back in the day, this is something my dad would have had me doing. I do have two boys, one 4, one about to be 10. They'll help me sometime, but I don't know. It's just a different time now. It's just interesting. But they help, but I just know my dad would have had me doing this by myself. So for those of you that may have kids out there, do they help you guys out? Do you make them do it? Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on that. All right. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to heal the area, right? So we're gonna make a hill. That way it's gonna help me kind of create a straight line going down. All right. And get that hill going. So a lot of the old time farmers call it healing. Now, interesting enough, I found out that my great-great-grandfather had a farm back in the 1800s, and so I've recently met some cousins around my age. So I'm less than a year out from being 40 years old. And interesting enough, a lot of my cousins that I don't know that come from that same side of the family, they're gardeners too. How interesting is that? So I guess it's something in the bloodline. All right, so we got a nice little hilltop going. You get some of these branches out of the way. All right, now we can really get this healing going. So this leaf rake is one of the most useful tools in the garden. You can do so many different things with them. You can move soil a certain way. You can, you can get the leaves up. It's just so many different things you can do with this type of rake. All right, so we got our nice little hill there. We'll probably break some of that up a little bit more as the weeks go on, but we're gonna go ahead and get some of these bulbs in the ground. So if you don't want to start them out from seed, and you got a short amount of time, you'll see these in like Tractor Supply, Meyer, some stores like that. So for us, we have very small growing seasons, okay? So sometimes we gotta do what we gotta do. Now with the onion, right, you can see there's roots on the bottom. So you want the roots to go down. And so I'm gonna take my hand and just dig in there. You can cover it all the way up and they'll pop up. So don't worry about that. Root down, take it, cover it up. And then in a couple days, you'll see the green starting to pop up out of the ground. Okay, now that green, the leaves are gonna look like this. And that's when you know your onion is gonna start popping up. All right, so we're gonna go all the way down this row here. At another time, we'll probably go in the main part of the garden, put more wherever we see the pest pressure is high, like you guys are talking about um, the cabbage leaves and whatnot. So yeah, I found that putting those onions around your brassicas, like your cabbage, broccolis, you know, cauliflower, really does well. Okay, all the way down, give them some decent space. All right, you guys got any plans for the day? Let me know what you guys are doing. I'm gonna be checking the comments in just a second. All right, if you're new coming in, make sure you guys hit the like button. We would appreciate it. We have been doing a lot today. I think this is gonna be a every Sunday thing. So this is the second week in a row going live. Um, like I said, I know in the past I would be doing more, but after the little baby came, you know, it takes a little time to get adjusted to life again. Okay. Now, the next step would be to water this thing in. I'm gonna wait till the sun goes all the way down because yeah, just not a good time to water it in right now. So maybe about 9:30. So here it starts getting dark about 9 o'clock, and I mean we're not dark until about 10 p.m. here. It's kind of weird how that works, but it is what it is. All right. So let me go ahead and read some of the comments. All right. So they ate my cabbage leaf. So John C says earwigs eat mostly pollen and nectar and trips while on the ground eat springtails and trips. Yeah. Pill bugs mostly eat decaying leaves, root. Yeah, man, tell me about that. All right, Gail H says, oh, that's what I did wrong. I left the cut leaves in the bed area. Thanks. All right, so we all helping each other out. My great grandfather had a farm in northern Michigan. Wow. How is your soil so loose? So the soil in this area was loose. So this is what we did. So this was a couple years ago. So we had an axe pick, broke up this area here because this is clay soil. We tilled it up and then we put a bunch of peat moss here, and then we mix it all in with the broken up clay soil. And so, you know, as time goes on, you have different weeds and whatnot breaking down into nitrogen. You got this part of corn, right, which turns brown. There's your carbon, and then we put grass clippings over here as well. And every year we just till it all up, and the soil becomes better and better, especially as it goes through the decaying process. You know, going through winter and spring and all of that. So that's how we were able to get this soil looser over here. But this soil was terrible. Even in the back, it was terrible. The back, we kind of did the same thing. Um, but I'll say this: the only thing that does well with the native rocky soil or clay soil that we have is corn. That's the only thing that does well. But I mean, tomatoes will do okay too. So I've noticed if I let the tomato fall over and you let the entire plant root down, it'll do well. Pumpkin will do well here too. So your crops that have really strong roots will do well in this soil. Other than that, we've mixed a lot of peat moss into this native soil to help it get loose. Okay. Today I have more cucumbers, parsley, peppers, and tomatoes to plant in containers. Wow, okay. When damn, tomato. So parsley. Parsley, we grew some of that, but it went to seed and didn't come back. I don't know what that's about. Um, One that I've had trouble with is cilantro. I think cilantro it does well in the cooler weather, but some years we don't get cool weather. It's either really hot or really cold. It's like we kind of don't get that in between. But John C, if you're in Michigan, I can't remember. You probably had the same sort of weather that I have. Yeah, that's true. Every year the soil will get better if you keep using it. Keep the grass clippings for me. Yeah. And another thing I like about the grass clippings is, when you're planting in pots, you want to spend all that money filling the pots up. Your your grass clippings, your leaves that you rake up, mix them all together, put them at the bottom. You could put tree branches. If you break them down, you could put them in your buckets or pots before you fill them up with topsoil or whatever it is you're gonna use. So yeah, grass clippings come in handy. I use them all the time. All the time. So yeah, good source of nitrogen too. Northern New Jersey, all dense clay to start. My mustard's bolted on me. So you guys got dense clay in New Jersey. That's the Garden State, huh? My mustard's bolted on me. Gail H said, yeah. Usually mine will bolt every year really quickly, but I changed my hybrid to it's a Florida hybrid. And the only reason I knew about it, I had to go to Florida earlier in the year for a cruise, and I saw a huge mustard plant, and I knew it was mustard, and then I did my research and I saw it was like some kind of Florida hybrid, and planted it in the garden this year, and it did better than any hybrid I've ever grown here. So I will look into the Florida hybrids. They do pretty well, even where I am. So check those out. We tried the compost but forgot to turn it. Yeah, mold it. Yeah, you gotta keep circulating that. Yeah, so where are you, Gail? Let us know where you are. John C and I want to know, are you in Georgia? Now, like I think I told you guys this before. When I started gardening, I was in Tennessee, so I spent quite a time in Tennessee. That's why I would go to different farms, help with cows and horses and whatnot. And that's kind of where I started at. Mostly, tomato, um, beans, green beans. Yeah, I got to get some of those in the ground too. Yeah, it's just always so much to do. But yeah, I started in a different grow zone than where I am now. A lot different. You gotta kind of get your rotation going differently, but you know, it just takes a little bit of adjustment. Mid Michigan. Oh, okay. So all you guys are you're not that far from me. Yeah, I actually have to go to Detroit on Thursday. My cousin passed away, so I have to go there on Thursday. But yeah, I know where Saginaw, Michigan is. I actually had a IT job there maybe like 6 or 7 years ago, and that my cousin that passed in Detroit, I was actually staying with him while I still had a house here where I am, but yeah, I know a little bit about at least Detroit area, Saginaw, Michigan. Okay. Well, yeah, maybe we can get like a Midwest Grow Club going and meet up somewhere. I don't know. It doesn't have to be in Indianapolis, but maybe we can get that going. So yeah, maybe we'll come up with something. All right. Well, listen, guys, I appreciate you guys for spending an hour with me. Got to get back to the Father's Day festivities. I appreciate you guys. If you guys haven't subscribed, make sure you like, share, subscribe. I'm out, guys. Peace.